So I'm working out some of the final details on the model for the Paulk Total Station Ultralight. And what I'm trying to figure out now is the clamp to clamp on the miter extension. And I want to do something a little different than I did for the other one, something a little stronger, a little more powerful. And I've gone out and searched, Google search for different draw clamps, different latching systems, and I've kind of found this one. And so what I've done here is I've taken a copy of the extension and then the fixed part of the bench, and I made a copy and I flipped them upside down here. And this vertical piece here just represents the side because that takes up 12 millimeters, and I want to make sure that I have enough room for whatever clamp. And this is much shorter than on the the current Paulk Total Station, because of the overall length from outside to the very edge of the tongue. The overall length of the extension is 1,790 millimeters, and the interior space I have is 1,708 or 1,800. So I have 10 millimeters to spare. So really probably don't want to make it any longer. But it looks like I might need a little more space. It's important that I don't use, no matter what clamp I get, I don't use the little bracket that comes with it, at least unless I inset it, because I don't want anything sticking out anywhere around on these extensions. I don't want anything to bump or scratch finishes when I'm setting up in a house, and also just storing it inside. It's just one extra thing. Plus the cutaway here in the spreaders. If something were sticking down, I would have to notch for that, making a little more complexity. So I've got those parameters. Now I did go ahead and really work on my dimensioning of the overall length, because I want to have the ability to do about 8 foot. 5.5 really is kind of the minimum. I'm at 8'6" here, and I've moved this out, or I've moved the stop out where the bolt head is right to the edge here. So I want to be able to really clamp it down nice and tight. Of course, the spline runs all the way in, so that'll should square up good. So I could, 5.5 inch wide material is really about as wide as we go on trim, and that's pushing it. So I've got some room to spare. So I could shrink the outside by 1 inch and then extend the and take that inch and move it to the tongue here. And I'm probably going to do something like that and give myself a little more room. Right now I'm about 24 millimeters. So that inch, that would get me close to 50 millimeters, close to 2 inches in here. And what I'm thinking is I've played around with a toggle like this, and I could just drill a hole and that would toggle straight down into it, but it wouldn't draw it. And I'd like to have something that draws it in nice and tight. And so I found these here, and this is a model I downloaded from the SketchUp warehouse. A lot of people ask, why don't you do Fusion 360 or something? I'll tell you, the model warehouse from SketchUp is so phenomenal. Other people have made these things, and saves me a lot of time in having to try to make something like this as just quick download. So, I've got this style here is pretty similar to, or exactly, it's what I used in the last one, and I actually have a couple of those, but they're kind of small. I want something bigger, a little stronger. This one actually is not representing the actual size of the ones that I have. And then there's another one I found that's kind of a twist clamp. But again, I wouldn't be using the metal bracket that comes with it unless I notched away and actually mounted it to the actually, there's just no way to do it because there's actually nothing there. This is upside down. So I pretty much want to deal with a notch or a hole. And so this here, where it kind of curves back and it would draw back tight to this, and this is a nice clamp. And if I go to Amazon here, and let's see, and I go to my wish list. Wish lists are great. Let's see, I didn't actually find one of those. I'll have to find one of those. I found this kind of clamp, which I have, and I looked at this toggle clamp, wondering if I could do something on the side and like have a hole that would go into, but couldn't really come up with anything good. This bail clamp here was another one I had looked at, and this one as well. But again, I'd have no really way to use those. So anyway, I'm going to find, I'll find a clamp like this and see about, I don't mind buying a few different ones, you know, for me to invest a little bit, and then in the field when I go down and build this, then I can play around with the different clamps and then come back to the plans and finalize the one that I actually choose. But you know, maybe there's something I'm missing. I've been looking for maybe something that inserts and there's a twist lock. I've looked at, I've got the Festool domino, the big domino. I've got them both, but I got the big one with the metal clamp system that they have, which is great for furniture assembly, but I just don't think that I want to, I really don't want any tools or anything. I think a nice clamp under there just to reach under and pull it back tight. So this one looks like it might be one of the better options. But again, I'm open to any ideas. And even if I don't get it in this initial go around with the model, I'm going to, again, go down to the shop, build it, perfect it, come back to the model and do my as-builts. So the plans are always slightly better than the bench I end up with, because I do the you know, the as-built afterwards, which is why the plans take so long. I would need to do all of this just for me, because I'm close enough and I could take this down and build it. But obviously I need to communicate these ideas. So, you know, that's why it takes hundreds of hours to produce a set of plans, not for me, but so that they're good to help you know exactly how to build it. So that's where I'm at. If you've got any ideas on these clamps, or if you've got a different thought, this is real different than my original miter stand, which used a big dovetail from the top, which worked great. I also thought about drilling a hole in the top of the bench and having so there'd be a bigger hole that some type of bolt head would drop flush in with the bench top, and then have just a screw-on knob. But you know, I just think about time and time again of unhooking these, setting them aside. Even when I'm using the bench in the field, a lot of times I'll just pop these off and set them aside when I need to for certain jobs. So I want them quick off and on, but again, I want them to clamp in rigid, and nothing can stick out past the end of this or below. So, you know, I've got some parameters that are important for transportation, also for efficiency of connecting them, and then the idea that nothing can stick out. So that's where I'm at. Getting really close. I've got the bench pretty well done. I've got all the backing and the way that I'm going to attach this and be able to remove it in case FastCap comes up with this miter extension as an option for those who want to spend a little bit more and have a metal fence from here all the way through. And let's see, we've got the horses all done. I'm pretty happy with them. I've got these adjustable extensions, supports. They've been adjusted. So I think I've pretty much got everything done. I've simplified and simplified so that even like these spreaders with this notch, I use the notch on both sides. So all 4 spreaders are identical. So make one, copy it 3 times. The sides are the same, except this is notched out. So basically this side here would be, I could make up a template that matches this, use it to make this side, then use it to make this side, but just cut these 2 holes and then just cut this out with saw. And so essentially, even though this is cutaway, they're still identical except for the added step of cutting this. And then the top and the bottom have to be different, obviously, because they are substantially different. But trying to simplify it, make it easier to build. I love the not having to make the custom one side of each horse with a notch sticking up by just using the barrel of these standard 3.5, 4-inch door hinge. I've got a whole box of them. I've changed out hinges over the years, from the old brass ones to some nicer ones on a lot of projects I've done. And I always save those because I figure they come in handy. These hinges could be pretty much any hinge, just with a nice barrel that sticks up. But I'm liking it, and I'm pretty excited. I'm really pushing to get down in the shop and get started on building this. So if you've got any ideas on the clamp, be sure to let me know in the description down below. If you've got a link like on Amazon or somewhere, put it there so I can go look at it. And also, hey, if you want to keep up with what I'm doing and then follow along when I'm in the shop, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you'll know when I drop a new video. And also, if you want to support the channel, obviously the plans are the primary support of this channel. But also, if you'll find a link to my Amazon store down below. If you use that link, you get your same Amazon prices, but they share a little bit with us, and it does help support the channel. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Have a great day.